Welcome to this week's edition of Indigo Living. Now, this is a very special episode for a few things. Well, first, it's the last episode of 2022. So big shout out to the entire team at Indigo Living for giving me this incredible platform, as well as the production team behind the scenes that make it happen every week. But today, I thought as we end the year, let's talk about the best way to start 2023. And I couldn't think of a better guest than Dr. Upasana Gala. She is the founder of Evolve Brain Training. So she is not only a neuroscientist, an entrepreneur, and so much more. She's going to change the way you think. You're going to become sharper, better, and so much more. So I couldn't think of a better way to kick off the new year. So thank you, Dr. Upasana, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Elizabeth.
So I was recommended your center and to try this assessment, and I was actually blown away. In just a few minutes, right? How long is this assessment?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. You knew that my mind was racing, I don't sleep well. I mean, this was incredible. And just by asking a few questions and being kind of connected, I guess. And I was really not only impressed by your center, but really to meet a neuroscientist who is just really changing the way we think. So how did you get involved in this sector?
Okay, so ever since I was a little girl, I've always been fascinated by science and neuroscience in particular. You know, growing up, the kids would have like Bollywood stars or something in their homes, and I had a giant picture of Einstein.
I love that. Oh my God, can we just stop? And like, that is amazing.
So I was super nerdy to begin with. And actually recently my mom found one of these slam books, you know, where you write what you want to be when you grow up. And she found an entry from 1998 when I was 10 years old. And it said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my answer was, I want to be a scientist and have my own lab. So,
are you serious?
Yeah, so I knew from the longest time that this.
So I feel like there's like manifestation and visualization all in that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that. So yeah, this has always been interesting to me. And I don't have, like, in my family, no one is in science, no one had even ever been on an airplane or been out of the country. When I was 17, I decided I wanted to go to the US because schools in India weren't really giving the research opportunities that I was interested in. So I did all the applications by myself, went to the US by myself, just told my parents I got a scholarship, I'm going, and they were like, what?
So where did you study?
So I went to Purdue, that's where I did my undergrad in neuroscience, and then I loved it so much I decided to stay back and do my PhD in neuroscience as well. So I did that at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. And then I moved here a few years ago and started this center because of my own struggles with anxiety and insomnia.
What does the center focus on? I mean, I had not only a tour and I've done an assessment, but I was actually really impressed that there was a whole specialty area for children. Yeah,
so you know, children also go through the same issues that adults do, right? They also have a brain, they also have feelings, they also have same problems with focus, with anxiety, with sleep, that we go through. You know, they don't even have sometimes the words or the emotions or the maturity to express themselves. But they still go through the same issues. So we do work with a lot of kids, specifically for childhood anxiety, ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and also a lot of kids come in for temper or behavior issues as well.
And how long is that process from when they start an assessment? What's the next stage?
So let me explain to you about what we do at the center. So we do something called neurofeedback. So neurofeedback means feedback for the brain. So an analogy I use is, imagine you're walking in front of a mirror and your hair is messed up. When you look in the mirror, you get that information about your hair being messed up, so you fix it, right?
Yeah.
This is exactly what we do with your brain. We show your brain its own activity in real time, and when the brain sees what it's doing wrong, it can self-correct. And the way we show the brain what it's doing is using these EEG sensors that we attach to the head. These sensors are listening to your brain activity. You know how you have the ECG that listens to the heart activity? Just like that, the EEG listens to your brain. It's not sending anything to your brain, we're not putting any waves or nothing, it's only measuring your brain activity. Then this information is translated by a software onto a video output. So during a screen, you will be sitting in a chair watching something on this screen. During a session, you'll be sitting in a chair watching something on the screen while you have these sensors attached. Now, say as an example, you want to improve your focus. Yeah? So every time you are focused, the sensors will sense that, and immediately the screen will become full screen. But if you get distracted or bored or think other thoughts, then the screen will shrink. Now the big screen is a positive reward for your brain. Brain likes it, so your brain will automatically, subconsciously start creating more and more of the brain activity that gives it the reward. So it will try to be more focused or more calm or whatever it is we're training your brain to do. And then because of neuroplasticity, if you repeat this kind of training multiple times, then this new way of being more focused or being more calm becomes your brain's natural new habit. And this is how we make long-term changes in your brain.
I was also impressed that you meet every single client that comes in.
Yes, so before we do any kind of training for them, I do an assessment, which is what you did.
Yeah.
So that assessment is the brain map, where we are connecting these sensors to your head while we ask you to do some simple tasks like look down, keep your eyes open, keep your eyes closed. And what we're doing is we're measuring your brain activity while you're doing these tasks. And we compare your data to the normalized population of other people your age and your gender, and we see where you fall on the spectrum. If you are below or above the normal threshold, then it will give me some indication that you might have issues with anxiety or ADHD. This is how we understood things about your brain without you telling us anything. So this gives us an overall picture of what's going on with your brain, which parts are not functioning right, and where I can help you to improve. So I do that assessment for you, and then I also do a detailed consultation with each client. And then based on everything that I learn about their brain, I design personalized programs for each client. And then before they do every session, I meet with them. We do 10 sessions of these neurofeedback therapy. Then we repeat all the assessments. So we make sure that you're progressing and going in the right direction. We show you the changes from before and after. Then we continue and do 10 more sessions, and again we repeat the assessments. And the reason we recommend at least 20 sessions to clients is because we are training your brain to learn a new habit.
Yeah.
You need to break whatever your old patterns are and create new patterns.
I think that's in general for a lot
Exactly.
of things, by the way, not just
exactly.
yeah,
That's how the
course.
brain works, you know,
Yeah.
you repeat, and then the brain knows how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why we recommend a program like this. And throughout these 20 sessions, most of the clients will meet with me at least 10 to 15 times. Yeah.
So after 20, can someone actually just go home and not have you on speed dial?
Right. So that depends.
Yeah.
So 20 is the minimum that we do for everybody, because that's how many times the brain needs to repeat something to make it a long-term habit.
Yeah.
But depending on the severity of your symptoms, how many areas you want to work on, how long you had the issues for, some people may need more. Sometimes we do 40, 50 sessions. In the case of kids, we do at least 30 sessions. But what happens is once you have reached a place where you're happy with the results, you're like, okay, I've done 25 sessions, I feel great. You know, the issues I came in for, they don't, I don't have anxiety anymore, I'm sleeping well, I feel fine. If you feel that way, then we stop. But what we do recommend is to do some kind of maintenance program where you do one session a month, just as a follow-up and a booster for the brain, just so that the brain remembers. And then eventually you wean it off, and then you stop coming to me completely. So I have some clients that I've followed up after 2 years after they finished their training, asked them how they were feeling, if they needed to come back, and they're like, no, we're totally fine. But then there are some clients that I've had them for 3 years, and they still come to me, but they come when they need it. So I won't see them for 6 months, but then maybe they go through a breakup or something difficult at work, and they might come for 2 or 3 follow-up sessions. So then you just use it as you need it. It's kind of like a massage for your brain.
I love
if
that.
you get sore, just come in for a massage.
And from your entrepreneurial side, so you left the States, you come to the UAE. Did you recognize a gap in the market for this sector? Because honestly, I was recommended your company just to try the assessment. And so a friend was telling me it was just fascinating to do this 10-minute test and just learn about yourself. And I also think coming of age, I think the older I get, I just want to keep knowing about myself better and better, right? So I want to be a better version of myself. I want to understand myself even more. So I actually came by fluke, but then I was really blown away by your center. What did you recognize when you came to this part of the region that you really needed to open something?
Yeah, so honestly, I opened it because of my own experience with neurofeedback. So despite me being in the neuroscience field, I had not heard of this therapy. But I went through, anxiety, insomnia for the longest time, and I grew up in an anxious environment. My mom was anxious, my sister is anxious, they don't sleep well, and I just assumed that this is the normal way of living, and I didn't know until much later that this is not how other people live their lives. And I had tried so many things, medications, yoga, meditation, all these things, but nothing would last, and nothing would give me like a lasting impact where I'm sleeping well and not being anxious, until somebody recommended neurofeedback therapy to me. So I was like, fine, I will try anything. And I tried it, and it completely changed my life. Like, I couldn't believe it. I wouldn't be this person I am today if I was still that person with the racing thoughts and anxious mind and too afraid to even try anything because of being afraid of failing. So So then I decided to go back to the US and study neurofeedback therapy because I was like, I have to bring this to other people. Like the change that I saw in myself was amazing. So I studied neurofeedback therapy, then I came back here and I started working out of a small room from my husband's office and started like doing neurofeedback therapy for his employees, voluntary employees. I did it for my husband, did it for my family, did it for his family, and everybody. Then I started people coming and asking to do sessions. So I was like, okay, fine, this works. I think I have proof of concept. And then I decided to open the center in Business Bay. And there aren't, I was one of the only people when I started, I was the only person doing this in all of UAE. And I actually have clients that fly in from Saudi, Oman, Kuwait, just to do my therapy. And they come stay here for a month and then they go back.
And also you mentioned your husband's company. So is this like something that corporates can do as like...
Yeah, so in COVID actually, because I couldn't see clients face to face and I couldn't actually put the sense of them, do the therapy for them, I had to come up with something else to keep my business running. So in COVID, I actually developed a series of corporate workshops. So we do Boost Your Brain workshops. So we help you, do workshops around stress management or think sharper, feel more focused, all that kind of stuff. So we do multi-series, we do single sessions, it depends. We do in-person, we do online. It's kind of interactive, so it's exercise-based. We do some exercises together that help you improve your focus, improve your memory, and then we also give you some takeaways so you can keep practicing at home and keep making sure that your brain remains sharp.
So this is so specific, like what you're doing, the neurofeedback. Is it something that would complement other therapies more on the medical side? So like actual going to a therapist?
Absolutely. Talk therapy works very well with neurofeedback therapy. In fact, your process at talk therapy will be sped up because of all the work we do in neurofeedback therapy. So what you would take a year to get to with talk therapy, you may get there in 3 months. Wow. Because of the changes that are already happening in your brainwave patterns. So in neurofeedback, like I said, we're working on the brainwave patterns, right? So we target the root cause. So you don't have to consciously make any effort, or there's no assignments, there's no homework, nothing like that. Your brain patterns are changing on their own. So they're going from anxiety brain patterns to calm brain patterns. Now, when you go to your therapist with that mindset, you're more accepting, you're more understanding, you understand yourself better already. Yeah. So your whole process of other therapies actually get faster. Yeah. And we actually do cognitive behavioral therapy and hypnotherapy at our center as well, along with neurofeedback. And we always encourage all clients to do talk therapy.
And so when should someone really go to? Any time, or is there like a kind of a tipping point where you should be like...
So you should never wait for the tipping point.
Yeah.
You should never wait for the tipping point. Yeah. It's going to take you much longer, and you're going to not be in the right place. Right? It's better to do it when you're feeling good, or if you know something's upcoming, if you know the next year is going to be difficult for you, whatever. Take precautions and like make yourself stronger, just like you would do with if you feel like
exercise.
Exercise, or you start taking vitamins if you feel like you're going to stuff like that. Like be preventative about it, and it's your mental health. It's more important than brain does everything you think, feel, and do. So. If we're doing so much for our physical health, we need to do just as much or more for our mental health.
I love that. Honestly, it was probably one of the best discoveries of 2022 was visiting your center, and I couldn't wait to share it with our viewers on the show. But thank you for coming.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So before we go, Indigo Living has a beautiful motto, and that is, what is living beautifully to you?
Okay, I think living beautifully to me is to be true to myself and do things that I'm passionate about and things that truly bring me joy.
I love that. You are truly inspirational. From the moment I met you, I told you, I was like, I need to have you on the show because one, being a female neuroscientist is incredible. Like, it is such a specific field, and the fact that you're sharing your knowledge with the world is amazing. So thank you for being here. And to all of you watching, it is the last episode of 2022, and I really wanted to highlight Dr. Upasana's work because you don't have to wait to make yourself feel better and sharper, and take that time to get an assessment and know your body. She is completely right. Your brain has, all the power in the world, but you want to make sure that you maximize it. So I couldn't recommend this center enough. I'm going to put all her details right here. A big thank you to you for following us and watching us every week on our show. It wouldn't be possible without you and, of course, the team from Indigo Living. So thank you for watching. I can't wait to see you guys all in the new year in 2023. Happy holidays, everyone.